Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I appreciate you clicking on that video as always. Today we are doing our 10th episode in this series of my weekly wears, what I wore last week every day. I think I had another nice mix of fragrances. There's a couple niche fragrances on this list today. Without further ado, let's get into it. So on Sunday I had an open house. I had a little work to do, and then I had plans to meet some friends afterwards at a bar for some drinks for my friend's birthday. So I wanted to go with something that was professional, but also makes you stand out a bit, just kind of works for every day, pretty much any situation. It's one of my favorite fragrances. Scent I'm talking about, Creed Aventus. Fantastic atomizer, just fruity, woody, and smoky when you first spray it. And, I may have mentioned this when I've talked about this fragrance in other videos, because I have talked about it a few times now. But I didn't really like this fragrance. Not that I didn't like it. I guess I didn't like it. I wasn't crazy about how it smelled when I first tried it. And obviously there was a ton of hype leading up to me trying it. I just guess kind of disappointed, kind of let down, but I gotta say, I have converted. This is top 5 scents for me in my collection. It's just something about it. It's masculine. It is head turning. There's a lot of things that smell like Creed Aventus. I have yet to find one that's impressed me enough to say that's better than Creed Aventus. And I will say that all of those fragrances that I've tried, as close as they are to Creed Aventus, they aren't Creed Aventus. There's something in Creed's DNA. And I talked a little bit about this when I spoke about Himalaya from Creed. There's just something unique to the Creed DNA that you don't get, obviously, from some of the other fragrances that try to copy this. It's just a really beautiful pineapple, bergamot, fruity opening. That smokiness from the birch in this. It's woody. It is musky. There's patchouli, rose. As it dries down, you get more of that musk, but that fruitiness kind of sticks around, and it gets a bit more smoky as it dries down. There's also vanilla in this, and I get the vanilla much later in the dry down. But this is one of my most complimented scents. Every time I wear it, I get a compliment. Someone says, "What are you wearing? It smells fantastic." And I tell them, Creed Aventus. It's a lot of times people have not heard of this. If you're in sort of fragcom and you're passionate about fragrance, you've heard of Creed Aventus. But the average person has not heard of Creed. They have not heard of Aventus. They don't know what it is. If you tell them what it is, they can't believe you paid as much as you did for the bottle. I love this one. I will never stop wearing this. To me, it's gonna be one of those fragrances that stands the test of time. Great longevity. I get fantastic longevity from this. It wasn't like that when I first bought the bottle, but now that you can see, I put a nice dent in it. Once there is, what I've found is some air in there, this starts to macerate, and it just gets better. The longevity gets better. The projection gets better. This is, for those that care, this is 21P01 is the batch. So it's a 2021 batch, and I get great performance. So a lot of that, I'm sure, is skin chemistry, but I do a spray on my chest. I usually do about 6 or 7 sprays, and seems to last. People can smell me. Love this one. Creed Aventus. Wore it on Sunday. So on Monday, I went with a fragrance that actually made my spring list. And this is probably my favorite from this particular line from this house. It's a toss-up between this and another. This is my favorite at the moment because it's springtime, and this is spring in a bottle to me. Scent I'm talking about, 78 Vintage Green from Banana Republic. Yeah, just awesome. Absolutely love this one. It is green. It's green leaves. It has this beautiful fig to this, and one of my favorite fig notes in any fragrance that I've tried that uses the note of fig. This is just as good as any of them. I paid under $20 for this. You can't always find it for that price, but if you're lucky enough to come across it in the rack stores, I got mine at Burlington, I believe. I'll try to link it down below to one of the discounters, but this is just fantastic. I get what I think is lemon verbena in this. I just get a bunch of citrus up top with that sweetness from the fig. It's a bit floral from the jasmine and magnolia, and then it dries down into this sort of musky vetiver sweetness. It is so good. It is perfect for spring. Longevity is pretty good. I get about 6 or 7 hours from it. And for a light, fresh spring scent, that's fantastic, in my opinion. It's one of the better performing Banana Republic icon line fragrances that I've tried. Just absolutely fantastic. There's also like a creaminess to this, and I'm not sure where that's coming from. It sort of rounds out the entire fragrance. Again, spring in a bottle. Absolutely love this one. Monday scent. Banana Republic's Vintage Green. On Tuesday, I felt like going with a blue scent, something really easy to wear, that sort of out of the shower, fresh feeling type fragrance. And this one doesn't get enough love, in my opinion. I barely hear anybody talk about this, doesn't really end up on anybody's lists. I constantly hear the intense version being talked about, but I never hear about this one being talked about. Came out last year, 2021, and I absolutely love this one. Gets compared to Dior Sauvage. I don't get that. Scent I'm talking about, Cool Water Parfum. That sweet pink pepper up top with some sandalwood, super synthetic, but in the best way possible. Haitian vetiver. There is some lemon in the opening, but the first thing that jumps out at me is that pink pepper, and it adds sweetness. It adds that spiciness. This is actually a fantastic performer. I get about 8 or 9 hours of longevity. It projects like a beast for the first 2 or 3 hours. Almost to the point that if you overspray this, you're gonna choke yourself out. Like I said, no one talks about this one. They do talk about the Intense with that coconut note, and that's all you hear is Cool Water Intense. You don't hear much about the Parfum. And this one, guys, honestly, get your nose on it, because there's just something about this one that is super likable. It's a mass-pleasing scent. It's a blue fragrance. It is in the vein of Dior Sauvage, Prada Luna Rossa Carbon. You know, these fragrances, they're similar to this. So, but there's something about this one that I really enjoy, and for what you can get it for, it's cheaper than all those, and it performs just as well, smells just as great. I don't remember what I paid for this. I want to say it was around $24.99. I was lucky enough to find it at a TJ Maxx, but you can get it pretty cheap online. I'll try to link it down below. But fantastic scent. Cool Water Parfum. So on Wednesday, it was kind of cool, bit dreary, rainy here in Boston. So I saw a perfect opportunity to bust this one out. And just looking at this one right now, I don't know if it's going to come across on camera, but the color of this juice is crazy looking. It's like almost like it's like an aqua color. And I don't know, you might know what I'm talking about already, but the scent I am talking about, Encre Noir Sport from Lalique. And I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see that juice color. Probably not. It's probably not coming across on camera, but this thing is fantastic. Now, I will say, not so much in the air, but in the opening, smells a little odd. Comes across as like almost vinegary. People compare it to pickle juice. I get that. I do get it a bit. I'm not going to lie to you. But once this dries down, and that only lingers for like a minute. It's not long. Once this dries down, this is one of the best vetiver scents that I've ever smelled. There is citrus in the opening of this, but I don't get much of it. It is sort of a blend of citruses. It's not one specific citrus. But what I love about this is that it's a watery vetiver. It's an easy to wear vetiver. It's clean, but also earthy at the same time. Not dirty, not like a Terre d'Hermès, but it's earthy. There's notes of lavender in this, so it gives it that sort of clean, fresh feeling, along with musk and cashmere wood. This dry down is the best part about this fragrance. The dry down's fantastic, and it lasts all day. You're gonna get 10 plus hours from this. That's what I get on my skin, and I get wafts of it all day long. It is one of those scents that works great when there's a little bit of heat, a little bit of humidity. It just comes out, it comes alive, and it's fantastic. One of the best fragrances for the money, smells of really, really high quality. As I said, the hardest part of this fragrance is when you first spray it. In that opening, it's a little rough. It comes across as like vinegar, pickle juice. I get that comparison. But when it dries down, and not even when it dries down, give it a minute or so, that sort of subsides. It rounds out, it smooths out a bit. And that vetiver, gorgeous. There's two different types of vetiver in this. There's bourbon vetiver and Haitian vetiver. And this is at the heart is a vetiver fragrance. It's woody, it's smoky, while still being aromatic and a tad bit sweet. Just enough sweetness to sort of not make this. It makes it more dimensional, more deep, a little bit aquatic. Love this one. Encre Noir Sport. Another spring banger. So this next scent that I wore on Thursday was one that I would consider you're going to get a lot of mileage out of in the colder months. But I would say that this is also one that you could wear in the spring. And it doesn't get sort of hailed as a spring fragrance, but it definitely could work. Scent I am talking about, Serge Lutens Ambre Sultan. In there, what I get most is that amber, those resins, and the bay leaf. The bay leaf is a note in this that really stands out to me. But it works so well with that sandalwood and the benzoin and the vanilla in the mid of this, and I pick up on the vanilla pretty quickly. The spice in this, the coriander, the oregano, man, this thing is just blended so perfectly. It's one of my favorite fragrances in my collection. It's a deep, resinous, rich, projects all day long. This is just, it lasts forever. If you spray this on clothes, beware. You're gonna smell like it for days. That juice color is just incredible. I mean, a name like Ambre Sultan, Amber Sultan, however you want to say it, it's fitting for this fragrance. That color is beautiful, looks great in a collection. This is actually the collector's bottle, I believe. So not all the bottles look like this, with sort of that stenciled on design. And I think as this dries down, there is a sweetness to it. So you do have the vanilla, but I think what's helping it with the sweetness is that myrtle, because it also gives it this green feeling to it. But it's so well blended that it's tough to pick that out. But where I'm smelling it, especially when I'm wearing it, I'm testing it and anticipating, discussing the fragrance, I pick up on those green notes because I'm really paying attention. But I just absolutely love this. An absolute gem of a fragrance. One of my favorite niche fragrances that I own, and a must try, in my opinion. If you like resinous, rich, deep, sexy, warm, amber type fragrances, you have to try Ambre Sultan from Serge Lutens. So on Friday, I went with a classic OG date night beast, although I think you can wear it anytime. I know it gets hailed as a date night go-to for a lot of guys. An OG, in my opinion. This one is another classic. This does not smell dated to me at all, although it's been around for a while and beloved for quite some time. I love this one. I will probably always have it in my collection. Now, the scent I am talking about, Dolce & Gabbana, the one, EDT. Now this is the collector's edition, so I haven't compared the notes from the normal EDT and this one, but I want to say there is a couple notes that are different. But to my nose, it's the same fragrance, and it's incredible. That same warm, spicy, aromatic feel as soon as you spray it. That warm, spicy freshness. That tobacco, the citrus comes in. Oh, it's just fantastic. Now, the collector's edition bottle has been rumored to have and offer better performance than the EDT that you could go to the store and buy today. I actually got lucky and I found this at a Marshall's. I want to say I looked it up, and I'll put it here if I can find it, but I want to say my bottle is a 2014 formulation, and I bought it last year or 2 years ago. At this point, the one, in my opinion, is sort of a no-brainer purchase. Obviously, you have to like it, but I would say that it's blind buy safe, and if you're used to smelling blue fragrances, if that's all you've smelled, and I'm talking to the guys that may be just beginning to start their sort of fragrance journey and trying different things, they're going to be probably steered towards the more popular stuff like the Dior Sauvages, the Bleu de Chanels, and those types of things. But this one, I would say absolutely give it a try. This scent profile just resonates with me. It's something I really enjoy. I enjoy warm, spicy, aromatic, sweet, tobacco type fragrances. So this one, I mean, it still represents that for me. And I think it's a really versatile scent that it doesn't get credit for that. As far as longevity goes, I don't get the best longevity. I probably get about 7 hours with this. And you would expect more from a sort of deeper fragrance like this one, or a winter fragrance. Although I think you can wear it obviously in the spring. But yeah, this one, about 7 hours longevity. It sits close to the skin, but that's by design. It's not meant to project like a beast. I don't think that was their intention when they made this fragrance. But this will always be in my collection. I absolutely love it. The one. EDT from Dolce & Gabbana. Finally, on Saturday, I went with a decant that I have that I hadn't worn in really forever. I hadn't worn this in a while, and I was curious. I wanted to smell it again. It had been a while since I smelled it, so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to put it on. It's not typically known for something that should be worn in warmer days. It was a bit warmer the day I wore it, but it seemed to have worked, and I enjoy it, but am I crazy about it? I'll let you know. But the scent I'm talking about, and I don't have a full bottle. Like I said, this is just a decant, so there's nothing to show. Scent I'm talking about is Coach Platinum. Sweet, powdery, woody vanilla. Retains that OG Coach DNA. Really mass-pleasing, really likable. Super synthetic. There's really nothing natural smelling about this, but I enjoy it. Has a pineapple note, but I don't specifically smell pineapple. It's not like the pineapple that you would get from like a Creed Aventus, but it's sweet and a bit juicy. I don't get a lot of spiciness from this. There is black pepper. There's other notes like sage and cashmere and juniper berries and geranium. I don't really pick up those notes. This is one that is easy to go nose blind to, and I think that's because it is very heavy on the ambroxan. It's not a listed note, but I would imagine there's a lot of it in this. I do get some of the leather in this, but it's sort of a suede leather. Could be what's sort of causing some of that powderiness to me, because I do get that with some suede. When leather isn't a fragrance and it comes across as a suede to me, I don't know why I get that, but it's sort of powdery to my nose. But at the heart, this is just, again, a mass-pleasing ambroxan, vanilla, juicy pineapple. Really, it's nothing to dislike about this scent, in my opinion. Smells like a lot of things, so it doesn't really inspire me. Comes across as a bit dated to me, something I would have smelled maybe 10 years ago. Probably not something I would buy a full bottle of at this point, but I can definitely see someone liking this one. I enjoy it more than the OG Coach, but it is very synthetic, almost headache-inducing to me. So this isn't, and that could be why I haven't worn this in a while, because I just forgot that it can do that to me. But just even right now, being in the air, smelling it off the strip, can be headache inducing. So I wouldn't overspray this one. And this one lasts a long time. I actually wore it and it lasted about 8 hours on me, 9 hours. So projects really well for the first hour and a half. It's a great performer. So I can see this being used by a younger guy, maybe someone just getting started into fragrance. This might be a solid choice, and you can get it fairly inexpensive. I'll be sure to link it down below. Would I buy a full bottle? Probably not at this point. But like I said, a younger guy, maybe someone just getting started, definitely easy to wear and easy to like. Coach Platinum. That's all I have today, guys. Like always, let me know in the comment section below what you guys wore this week. That's my favorite part of these videos. I love seeing what you guys wore. If you guys like what you saw today, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share this video, hit that bell notification so you are updated whenever I upload new content. But until then, have a fantastic week, and I will see you in the next video.